Alright students, in this section I'll be talking about contour lines. So what are contour lines? So on your map you will see these lines along with numbers with them, and you might think, what do these numbers represent? The symbol doesn't tell me what this represents, but you are supposed to be able to understand the concept of contour lines to understand what is actually going on. So contour lines tell you about the change in height or elevation of the land. In the picture on the right, you see a mountainous area here. You see a mountain here, and then the image below it is a flattened land with contour lines on it. Okay, so what I tell my students is that in the exam, I cannot simply give you your question paper and stick a pile of plasticine on your question paper and tell you that the mountain is this high, because your paper is in 2D, right? So what geographers actually do in order for them to communicate to you the elevation of a land is that they flatten it. So they flatten it, and then what you get are contour lines. So the picture at the bottom here is basically telling you the information that is above it. So there is a mountain with an elevation of 1,400 meters on the map. Okay, so contour intervals. What are contour intervals? If a question asks you about contour intervals, it is basically the difference between two contour lines. So let's take a look at this. At the bottom here, I have a contour line of 1100 meters, 1100 meters, and then above it, I have a contour line of 1200 meters. If the question requires me to calculate the contour interval, it is basically the difference between two adjacent or two contour lines that are beside each other. So the difference between 1200 and 1100 is 100. So your contour interval is 100 meters. Please remember that your unit is in meters. Alright, so moving on. So again, as I have mentioned earlier, if you are in reality and you are looking at a mountain based on front view, this is what a mountain will look like. However, if you are in the sky looking down on the mountain, this is what a mountain will look like. Again, more images to allow you to imagine this. So you see here on the picture on the left is basically a 3D model of a mountain, and on the right you see the contour lines, so the top view. So I cannot, like I've mentioned earlier, I cannot give you a paper with plasticine stuck on the question paper. So I have to flatten the information somehow onto a paper, but you must understand what these numbers actually mean. So again, front view and top view. So contour lines and landforms. So you can use contour lines to identify landforms on a landscape. To do this, you need to look at the spacing of contour lines and the height of the contour lines. So let's take a look at these two pictures here. As we can see from the picture on the left, the highest point of this landform here is 150 meters. Because it is less than 600 meters, it is actually a hill. Alright, so if we take a look at the picture on the right, the highest peak here is 600 meters, and we know that mountains, in order for something to be called a mountain, it must be 600 meters above sea level. Another thing for you to note is that you see that the spacing between two contour lines are different in both pictures, right? So the spacing of the contour lines actually tells you about the gradient or how steep a mountain is. If the lines are closer together, for example in the picture on the right, it means that the gradient is steeper. However, if you see that the contour lines are more widely spaced apart, as seen in the picture on the left, it means that the gradient is more gentle. Please, please, please use the words steep and gentle when you are describing gradient in your exams. Alright, so we have two more landforms here, basically a ridge. So a ridge has a top and shape of feature that is narrow and elongated. So what narrow and elongated means is that they look like sausages, like this. Okay, so you see that the contour lines are closely spaced together. This is known as a ridge. So if you see a landform that is closely spaced together with elongated contour lines, it is most likely a ridge. And the picture on the right is a plateau. So basically a plateau has a flat top. There is no contour lines at the top. and the contour lines that are below it are closely spaced together, telling you that they are steep. So remember, close together is steep, widely spaced is gentle. For flatlands are very large, contour lines that with very large distances between them. So it means that they are not close together, neither are they widely spaced, but rather they are very, very widely spaced apart. So the difference between where you find two contour lines, the distance between them is very large. This signals a flatland.